Now these videos that I'm talking right now about are not just for your gross wisdom, gross knowledge. No, it's for your subtle wisdom. Subtle wisdom means you feel it. It is tangible, it's perceivable, and it can be experienced. So you experience this wisdom while I'm talking or while we are doing some certain practice. You experience it for yourself and you be convinced of how it works. So that is the whole idea about it. It's not just sharing gross wisdom, because please understand, gross wisdom will not do you any help. That is how I responded to the people who are asking that. How much ever I talk about wisdom, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to help you. So if I write even pages of emails and tell you, it's not going to work, because you have to actually take a direct experience of what the knowledge is all about. And that is my persistent effort to share the experience while I'm sharing the knowledge simultaneously. For that is what I call you got to shift into awareness. The whole idea of bringing awareness into the system of this videos and the sessions that I have is to imbibe that, put the gross knowledge and the subtle knowledge together so that you can have a profound experience. And when you experience, then only that knowledge what you have taken in is valuable. This the Chidakasha Gita very clearly says that you got to actually have a direct experience. No bookish knowledge or no knowledge that you take from outside or listen from outside or try to understand from outside is going to help you anyways. So the effort is that you get into a state of awareness. Greetings, divine love and light to all of you. I was asked by a couple of people that the mind is not still, mind is very restless. What do we do? There were many requests from people who are contemplating on the Chidakasha Gita on what is to be done with the mind which doesn't seem to settle down and one doesn't seem to focus, be able to focus. I told them that it's not just one or two people's problem or challenge. This is what almost all of us face on the path, because the mind is the biggest challenge. So I requested them to actually work on finding what the mind is all about, the functions of the mind, how the mind works, the science of the mind, the depth of the mind. One should have enough wisdom and understanding about the science of the mind, how the mind works, because only then your practice will be good enough. Without understanding the basics of the mind, it's very difficult to calm the mind, to tame the mind, to gain mastery over the mind. Please understand that this is nothing to be too overwhelmed or depressed about, because everybody has this challenge with the mind. Please know one thing: till the mind is there, the world is there. You also are there. You exist till the mind exists. Our whole life, everything that we see, perceive, live, everything is through the mind. Man hi karta, man hi bhokta was what my Gurudev always reminded. It is the mind that creates. It's the mind that manifests. It is the mind that then experiences what it manifests. And that experience makes the mind go through what we call as pleasure and pain. The whole pleasure and the whole pain is all the play of the mind. Everything is experienced in the mind. It might be easy to say it is the play of the mind, but when it comes to working with the mind, we may be unable to see the practicality of it. It may be easy to say that it is a play of the mind, but because we have a mind and we are experiencing it, we know how turbulent it can be. How even the pain does pain us and the pleasure does give us happiness. The pain is very real. The sufferings are real. And it is real because the mind is super active. This is what I was talking about, the science of the mind. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, the mind is your best friend. And he also says, the mind is your worst enemy. It is your friend and it is your enemy. It can put you down like an enemy puts you down, but it can also uplift you like a friend uplifts you. It all depends on which side are you more focused upon. Which side are you more cultivating in your life? This is what I meant to say by please understand the basics of the mind. The mind is nothing but full of past memories. It holds all kind of memories that you have been through in this lifetime and also from the past lifetime. You may not remember your past lifetime, but your mind holds everything. Your subconscious mind holds the whole data of lifetimes of memory. This lifetime, only consciously what you can remember is what you have done in this lifetime and what you have gathered from this lifetime, which exists in your mind in the form of memories. All these memories either uplift us or put us down. These memories hurt us or make us feel happy. That is why we say, be careful of what you feed the mind with. Whatever you feed the most stays with us most, lingers in the mind the most, and it keeps surfacing again and again. So when one says the mind is not stable and I am unable to calm the mind, I am unable to go deep into meditation, or I am unable to even sit still, it's too much happening in my mind. Please understand, this too much is coming from what you have fed the mind from. Whatever the mind has been fed with, maybe consciously or maybe even unconsciously. Consciously I mean knowingly you have fed a lot of things into your mind. Knowingly means what you see, what you do, what you hear, what you taste, what you feel. Through the five senses, through the panchendriyas. Consciously you are doing this all the time. Most of the time we are aware that we shouldn't be doing certain things, but we do it anyways, due to habits. These are what we fill in our mind consciously. Unconsciously is when in ignorance, when we are not in awareness, when we are not consciously present in what we are doing, we unknowingly feed in a lot of things into the mind. It may be as simple as watching a movie which may look very beautiful but has got a lot of impressions that are not very positive. So you are consciously enjoying the movie in ignorance because you are not aware what it can do to your mind. And when you are not in a state of awareness, you are in the opposite state, that is ignorance. So in ignorance you are watching and enjoying and relishing the movie, but what is happening is all those negativities which are present in the movie in very subtle form enter your mind. It creates certain kind of ripples and reactions in your body and mind and emotions, which again, if you are not aware, It will keep happening in your mind. Your mind will be impatient, fearful, angry. It will be very reactive. But in awareness, when awareness is not there, in ignorance, you will fail to notice it. This is what I mean by unconscious. So unconsciously, you are enjoying the movie with lot of tensions and fears and worries and sadness and grief and all those emotions that you are seeing, and subconsciously your mind like a sponge is absorbing all this. And where does it absorb? It goes into the subconscious. So such way we have lived all our life with lot of ignorances. We have fed our mind with uncountable stuff. Innumerable incidents and memories are lying down there, deep there, that have come from our experiences of life. Most of the unconscious feedings have happened in your childhood, when you are not fully conscious and you have just absorbed things from the society, from the surroundings that you have lived in, good, bad, ugly. These then become a part of your mind bank, and that is what makes your personality, and that is what creates us. So what I'm trying to say is, the mind is everything. You live your life because there is a mind. You take birth because of karma, but how does karma play itself out? Through the mind. This is why it is very, very important to understand the science of the mind before trying to calm the mind or trying to get into deeper aspects of meditation. Very important that you understand these basic things. Of course, the study on the mind and the science of mind is too vast to be covered in such short time. But some basic things is what I am speaking here. If you like to understand more about the mind and more about how we live in ignorance and how we should sharpen our intellect, intellect helps us build up awareness. Intellect clears our mind, purifies our mind, because the intellect is a powerful tool. And this is what the Chidakasha Gita talks about. Since these requests have come from people who are practicing or studying the Chidakasha Gita, I am talking the language of Chidakasha Gita itself. The complete remedy and solution given in the Chidakasha Gita is to sharpen your intellect. And how do you sharpen your intellect? By becoming aware. There is no other way to sharpen your buddhi. The whole Chidakasha Gita says that your mind should be centered in and around your head area, that is the Chidakasha within your head. So it's again very deep. I will not be able to go deep into what is the space of Chidakasha, maybe in some other video, but you can definitely watch my videos on the YouTube channel Shifting into Awareness, where I am constantly talking about these things. So you will get insights from there about the Chidakasha. It is this head area completely is the Chidakasha. This is the sky of consciousness, what he calls, and inside the third eye, this is the third eye, which Bhagavan calls and refers as the internal eye. The deep, if you go straight from here, it comes out from the other end, that's the Bindu. The Bindu chakra is here. So in the center from where you go, the top center and this center when you pierce is the center of this heart space. So this whole area, this circumference is what he calls as the heart space. The heart is not the physical heart. This is the subtle heart, which is referred to as Hridayakash. So whenever we talk about Hridayakash, it is nothing but the Chidakash. So the whole science of Chidakasha is to purify your mind and to dissolve your mind. The whole aim of Chidakasha Gita is to dissolve your mind. However, that's not an easy task, because Bhagavan begins the Chidakasha saying that Gyanis are mindless. And who are the Gyanis? Gyanis are the self-realized, liberated beings, completely Jivan Mukta beings. Human beings who are in the Jivan Mukta state, who are completely liberated. And all those who are completely liberated have no mind. Like Bhagavan Nityananda himself, he never had mind. So the mind is absent, the mind dissolves. Because when the mind dissolves, the Maya dissolves. The whole Maya, the whole play of consciousness, whole what we call as experience of life, good, bad, ugly, everything takes place in this mind. That is why when you go to sleep, the mind is absent there. And then the moment the mind is absent, your whole world vanishes. As soon as you fall asleep, there is no awareness of anything. All the pleasure, pain principles, all the good, bad, ugly that is happening in your life, all the tensions that you had suddenly disappears and evaporates. The I evaporates. The I, the me evaporates. The status that I hold, the name that I hold, the religion that I hold, the titles that I hold, the ranking that I hold, any kind of distinctions, any kind of labels that I hold, all vanishes. It just evaporates. There is no me, there is no I-ness. And suddenly you will find you, in the sense you are pure, the pure soul that you are. In deep sleep, that awareness only is there. There is an awareness, there is no mind there. Your body is asleep, your mind is asleep, only the awareness is awake. So this proves, when you wake up in the morning, you feel either good or bad, the whole experience of that sleep, depending on how active or how inactive your mind was. If your mind was active a little bit or coming and going, then we call it as sleepless nights, no proper sleep, because your mind is active. If your mind has properly gone to sleep, then you are completely having a deep sleep. This is one of the states, 5 states of consciousness. 4 states is basically what they say. So it is one of the Nidra Avastha that is called. Nidra is the sleep state, where only your consciousness is alert. So this has to be understood, that the whole worries, the whole tensions that you hold, everything, the depression, everything suddenly evaporates like anything. What is there is only the soul. The whole idea goes off. The whole of me goes off. The whole of mine goes off. My possessions, my people, my attachments, everything just vanishes. So in this manner also it vanishes. The other opposite, all the happiness, all the great deeds that you have done, everything vanishes. Your suffering also vanishes, your happiness also vanishes. So mind becomes neutral there. So the whole idea of Chidakasha Gita is to come to that kind of a state. That is why Bhagavan says you need to sleep like a yogi. You need to have the yogic sleep. He's talking about the Yoga Nidra, the subtle sleep, he says. Subtle sleep like the Jivan Muktas, the Jnanis sleep, have that kind of sleep. Means they do not have mind. So he is asking one to enter into that kind of state. Now how do we go to that kind of a state? That kind of a state where the mind dissolves happen only when the whole mind can be purified. There is no other way. The moment the whole mind gets purified, mind means the mind, body and the contents of it, whatever the contents are. As I told you, there are a lot of contents. Most of it is past memories, impressions, which also convert later into vasanas or tendencies. These become our strong tendencies. These tendencies create habits within us. Looped episodes in our life, looped tendencies, which we call as attitudes and personalities. All these things happen with these psychic impressions. There are different impressions which are created in the mind. I'm just talking grossly. I'm not going deeply into the bookish language so that you can understand. So all these impressions, these are called impressions, psychic impressions. Very subtle, sukshma, you cannot see them. You cannot feel them. You cannot touch them. But they exist. So these subtle impressions are what surfaces up as thoughts. It is just like thoughts. You cannot see, you cannot touch the thoughts. But thoughts are powerful. They are there in the mind. So same characteristics all these impressions are. They do exist, but in various forms. And they all play on only one platform, the mind. There is nowhere else that they play. Even the Jnanamaya Kosha, there are 5 koshas, which again you can refer to a different video. I won't be able to cover up everything. We have not just one body, we have 5 bodies. One is the physical body, and the other 4 are not to be seen. They cannot be seen, they are subtle bodies. Sukshma Sharira they are called. So the next after this body is the Pranamaya Kosha. This is the Annamaya Kosha, the food body, which is developed and maintained by the food, Annamaya Kosha. Then the Prana Sharira, Pranamaya Kosha. This has got all your prana, where your prana runs in. And these are got all these nadis, where they are subtle nerves. They are called nadis. Basically 72,000 nadis. So they are all like your nerves. You can't see them. And then there are chakras, 7 chakras. This is all in your Pranamaya Kosha. I won't go deeper into it, but then the next body after that is the Manomaya Kosha. This is the mind body that we are talking about. So the mind is not actually here. People say the mind here because they are referring to the brain. The brain is not the mind. Brain is the physical tool of the mind. It's just an organ. Okay. So all the chemical reactions, all the things grossly happen in your mind. Because the signals are sent from the brain, it goes through your nerves. There are nerves which you can see and there are nerves which you cannot see. That is there in your Prana Sharira. In your Prana Sharira, these nerves are responsible for supplying prana to you. Prana is the life force energy which we collect from the atmosphere, from the cosmos. This also, the Chidakasha Gita talks very deeply about what is the importance of prana. That is why the Chidakasha Gita talks about breath. The breath, the prana are closely linked, and this breath and prana is closely linked with your mana sharira, that is the mind. That is why how you breathe affects the mind. So I'm just giving you basic inputs of this. If you just have this understanding, it's enough. But if you keep on regularly watching these multiple videos that I've done, every time I've gone deeper and deeper. There are videos that I've talked only on the mind for 4 hours. You can look into that and be in that awareness and completely experience that. Now these videos that I'm talking right now about are not just for your gross wisdom, gross knowledge. No, it's for your subtle wisdom. Subtle wisdom means you feel it. It is tangible, it's perceivable, and it can be experienced. So you experience this wisdom while I'm talking or while we are doing some certain practices. You experience it for yourself and you be convinced of how it works. So that is the whole idea about it. It's not just sharing gross wisdom, because please understand, gross wisdom will not do you any help. That is how I responded to the people who are asking that. How much ever I talk about wisdom, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to help you. So if I write even pages of emails and tell you, it's not going to work, because you have to actually take a direct experience of what the knowledge is all about. And that is my persistent effort to share the experience while I'm sharing the knowledge simultaneously. For that is what I call you got to shift into awareness. The whole idea of bringing awareness into the system of this videos and the sessions that I have is to imbibe that, put the gross knowledge and the subtle knowledge together so that you can have a profound experience. And when you experience, then only that knowledge what you have taken in is valuable. This the Chidakasha Gita very clearly says, that you got to actually have a direct experience. No bookish knowledge or no knowledge that you take from outside or listen from outside or try to understand from outside is going to help you anyways. So the effort is that you get into a state of awareness. Now, what is awareness? I have talked in many other videos, but I'll briefly explain in this video because the mind and awareness goes hand in hand. When I'm telling experience your mind without getting into state of awareness, you cannot experience your mind. Anything to experience grossly in your body or subtly in your body, there are subtle aspects in your body also which needs your awareness to experience. So I was talking about the mind body, Manomaya Kosha. Here is where all your patterns, all your habits, all your tendencies, the vasanas, the imprints, the psychic impressions, whatever you call it, these are called like vrittis, like bubbles. They keep on coming up and surfacing on the mind and breaking up. Continuously this is happening. So whenever you are awake and alert, the mind is alert, immediately these bubbles, the vrittis, start coming up. It depends on the environment that you give the mind. Suppose you have woken up and you're fresh and you're thinking nothing much. You don't have anything to worry about. You don't remember anything from the previous day's worry or anything. Just for example. Then what will happen is, your mind is like blank. Most of the time you can see there is nothing to think about. So nothing happens. There are no vrittis happening. But the moment a memory comes up, everything related to that memory, it goes and triggers deep into your subconscious. And similar vrittis start popping up. One thought and many thoughts connected to that thought will start coming up. This is when you have boom ups. This is why when people say, I just had one thought and I was thinking, and then in just 2 to 3 minutes, I found myself flooded by thoughts. Multiple thoughts, and it's unstoppable. Where did it begin? It began actually from one thought, and it had a chain reaction, continued. This is how the mind works. So it can happen from a memory. Most of the time, if you don't have a memory, which by just thinking and you remember something from your past, the moment you think something from your past, everything connected to it rushes in front. And it floods your mind. Like for example, if you have had some bad experience with one person and suddenly you remember that person, that's enough. What you have done is you have just remembered that person. But all the experiences connected to that person, the memories related with that person, all your thoughts that you have, the feelings and emotion that you have towards that person, and the experiences related to those thoughts and emotions, everything starts coming up one by one. So all that you need to do is just one trigger. Now this is very important for you to understand why I'm explaining this. Because as a practitioner of meditation or any path on the spiritual path, as a seeker, when you're walking on this path, awareness is very important. And awareness teaches you to watch and identify where this initiation began, where the first thing began. When we do this kind of study, we understand that we ourselves are triggering these kind of things within our mind, which is flooding our mind and making it overwhelming. So first, basically, we need to understand that there are a lot of these latent impressions lying submerged in the deep subconscious of the mind. Okay, this is like a glass of water which is dirty. So what happens? Our mind is all dirty, but with period of some time, if you just allow the glass of water to be as it is, what happens? The mud settles down and soon the glass will appear very clear, the water will appear very clean, but it is not. It's dirty water. This is what our mind also appears like. It appears to be very nice, it appears to be very natural, it appears to be very clean, it appears as though everything is fine. That's how we also feel fine. We identify with the mind. If the mind is fine, we say we are fine. So if the mind, we feel that the mind is all fine, but these things are lying in the subconscious. It needs a trigger for the vrittis to come up. What is the trigger? As I said, You think about something and you are actually going and poking that particular memory in there. What happens in the glass of water when the dirt is lying down? It's like taking a straw and touching the bottom. The moment you touch the bottom, you can see the mud popping up. So this phase, we are constantly doing this. If not by memory, then it happens through the panchendriyas. Either by hearing something, you hear something from outside and you remember. Somebody tells something about it. Not necessarily telling you. Maybe you're watching TV and a name comes, Deepak, for example, in the movie. Now Deepak is somebody whom you relate somebody to your life. So you heard something, Deepak, and suddenly what the Deepak which is there in your mind subconsciously, that you are hit the straw with that, and suddenly that Deepak, that thought. So the moment that Deepak comes up, what is there within you, that Deepak, all the past memories connected with that Deepak start one by one popping up. So you have seen that. Have you observed that the TV is running there? It has nothing to do with your mind. But what has happened is something has triggered from there. How? Through the ears. One of the indriyas, the ear is. Similarly, we see something. Whenever we see something, we remember something. We recollect. The moment we remember, again we are poking something. So again, visuals. If the visual might be something, a scene. Let's say Goa. Something has happened. Something in your life is connected with Goa, let's say, and you have completely forgotten about it. For years you have not thought about that person or incident. And suddenly in a movie or television episode you see Goa being shown there. And suddenly what happens is it goes and triggers that memory. So the moment it triggers, this vritti start rising. That is why most of the people, while they're watching TV or movie, they go into a different thought. Because all the time, everything, every impulse that you're getting from outside, through the ears, through the eyes, through the nose, through the smell, you smell something and suddenly you remember something. You're walking through the road and you are clean, you are like nothing, you are walking, just having a simple walk, and suddenly a beautiful fragrance, somebody's worn a perfume, it just passes by, and that perfume resembles the smell of your ex, boyfriend or girlfriend they used to wear, and suddenly it's that perfume. Now that perfume will trigger that memory related to your ex, and you are walking on the road completely free, and suddenly you remember your ex. Now you don't know why you remembered. Why? Because you are in ignorance, you are not in awareness. If you are walking in awareness, you will be able to identify immediately. That thought comes and where is this come from? Immediately if you rewind in that very few seconds, you will know that it came from that smell. So it's like a detective work. You are very clear, crystal clear with what's happening in your life. Most of the time the people who are not in awareness will not be able to figure it out. And the whole time, the mails that come to me, it's like, I don't know. They always say, I don't know. But my mind is playing this, my mind is doing this. They will never identify with what has happened, which is triggering, or what is happening in their life, which is triggering. Most of the time it is the impulses through their panchendriyas. So they feel everything is normal outside. I have not done anything. Personally, I have not done anything, but still my mind is troubling me. Mind cannot trouble until you poke the straw there. You're getting it. And when do we poke the straw? When we are not in awareness. So, not in awareness means when you are not conscious, when you are not alive, when you are not present in what you are doing, when you are not actively aware of what you are doing. So, if in a state of awareness you are doing something, you will be very careful and you will be observing everything. It doesn't need separate attention. It just needs an enhanced attention of your lifetime. So, if you are watching TV, if you are watching everything, I'm telling you, if you develop this awareness, then the mind will not trick you. Mind is very cunning. It knows how to trick you. It knows how to keep you upside down all the time. That's the work of the mind. And it keeps playing. So in unawareness, the mind does this. But if you're aware, you won't give in to the trick of the mind. Because let's say, now somebody, you're watching TV and suddenly you see Goa there. The Goa you see, suddenly you might have a flashback of some memory, but you'll suddenly become aware. You'll know that. Your awareness will tell you, oh, why is this mind bringing up something which is not important right now? The moment you say that, you become aware of it. Now this is the buddhi that is doing it, the intellect is doing it. The power of discrimination comes from buddhi. All this discrimination that immediately gives attention to what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is unreal. So the buddhi is telling, oh, is this really required now? It will decide. It's not required because I'm watching a movie. I'm enjoying a movie and it's a movie. I'm focused here, I'm in this present, I'm in this moment right now here. So that buddhi will bring you back. Though it will show you immediately, oh, you have gone back into something. So what will happen is you will save yourself from digging up all those graves and falling into that loops of unwanted. Because what happens when these unwanted memories come up and they rule over your mind? What is happening? You react. It's a natural response. Whenever these things happen in your mind, you are reacting. You react with the thought. You react with the vengeance. You say, I should have done that. I should have said that. And you start even murmuring. Things are happening in your mind and you're blaming that. You're telling, oh, this should have been this way. And this is what makes the mind restless. It is not just the thoughts. Please understand. It is the thoughts and your response to it. So when can you see this? In awareness, you'll see how your mind is responding. So even if your mind is responding, even if you have got one step delayed and got to the extent of responding back, one step is before is you catch in awareness. You become alert. Oh, I'm remembering that. It's not needed. You drop it. You come back to the movie. It's gone. The moment you don't allow and give it attention, it drops. But the moment you give it attention, the next step is memories coming. And memories coming, the next step is your response, your reflex action. So let us say you have delayed the process of awareness. And when you are reacting something, suddenly you become aware. Oh, why am I doing this? Suddenly you'll see, oh, I'm reacting to this thing, which is not real right now. It is a memory. You immediately rewind and see, where did it come from? Oh, it came from Goa. Where did it go? Oh, I'm watching the movie. Oh my God, I should have been here. Why did I drift there? Forget it. It's not important. It's a play of mind. You'll know the play of mind. So you'll say, I know now this is going to trick me and going to make me impatient, restless and make me reactive and all that. So the first step in awareness is becoming aware and not allowing your mind to do further tactics, do further jugglery. You are avoiding that. This is an important part in the path of the seekers. Your sadhana, your meditation, your austerities that you do, whatever it might be Sankirtan, it might be the chantings that you do, it might be the mantra recitation that you do, it might be the meditation that you do, it might be your watchfulness that you are doing, the practices, it might be the breath work that you're doing, it might be the contemplation, the reflection that you're doing, being calm and alert on this. It might be any practice that you're doing, or it might be just worship or devotion towards your Lord or deity. Anything that you're doing, any practice that you're doing, that practice will slowly help you to dissolve those latent psychic impressions. Slowly, because you're weakening. The idea is to weaken it by not giving more attention, and then your practice is like, for example, one is mantra chanting. If you're doing mantra chanting, the power of that mantra chanting, the vibrations of that, which is a positive divine vibration, powerful one, it will go and hit on those vibrations, because thoughts are vibrations again. All these vrittis, what I'm talking about, all the psychic impressions, but it's nothing but vibration, very subtle vibration. Mantra is vibration. Now this might be a negative vibration that you're holding. Mantra is very powerful, divine. So what the mantra does, it goes and acts on your deep cellular and your subconscious in the form of that waves of that vibration, and whatever is lying there, the impurities, in the form of this, energy, vibrations, it goes and transmutes it. That's how mantras work. So similarly, all the practices that we do have some or the other impact on these tendencies, on these vibrations. Everything is vibration. So all the sadhana, all the practice is all about vibration. The secret is that everything just converts into some kind of vibrations and goes into your body, into your deep cellular aspects, into your deep subconscious, into your deep subtle bodies, and works with the vibrations there, because you and me are nothing but vibration. The Chidakasha Gita beautifully explains it, that everything is Omkara. There are many verses that goes very deep and explains about how you and me are just Omkar, result of Omkar. So once you understand the science of this sound, we are made of sound and vibrations, we are all just vibrations, you will understand how everything we do have an impact. Negatively, it has a negative impact, and positively, all these practices that we do have a positive impact on that negative vibrations. So everything, if you just ask me, any practice you take, thousands and millions of practices are there, but they all, on a deeper level, they act and work on just the vibrations. So if you understand the science of this vibration, which is being talked here on the Omkara, the study of Omkara, if you just understand that, then any practice you do, you will do it very beautifully. And at a certain level, you will understand that the practice, the cross practice, is not the real thing. The subtle science of that practice is more important. This is a state which you will understand only in depth after doing a lot of study and experiencing it, not just with the logic. I'm not talking about logic studies, theories, or philosophies. I'm talking about the actual working that you do with your experiences on that. You experience all these things in the kind of vibrations and what the changes it's bringing to you. And then you'll be convinced that the practice is not really important. There are so many practices in this world. Why practices are there? Because we have not understood the basic and deep science of this sound and vibrations. So everybody, it's not possible to understand. So all these various practices are introduced by various systems. All these practices are to take you there. So we choose these practices depending on our tendencies, on our likes and dislikes, on our cravings and aversions, and so many factors. No, we have this affinity to something, an aversion to something. So whatever we have affinity towards, we like that. And what do we like? Whatever is our characteristics. Whatever is our personality, we like that. Whatever are the tendencies within us, the imprints within us, based on that is our like and dislike. So what we like, we choose that kind of a practice because this suits us. So the truth, the ultimate truth is that you choose a practice only because it is suiting you, not because it is an ultimate truth. But these practices lead you to the ultimate truth. That is why we say, and I stress that everything is one. Be it religions or all paths, all are using various tools and terminologies and various systems, but all are working deeply on the core level of this atomic level. So once you understand the science of these atoms, which you can see all our great rishis have talked about, like if you go deeper into texts like Tirumandiram and all that, or Tirumularchi and all that, if you see, they're all dealing with this detailed sciences. So if you go and understand this, if you through experience again, not just knowledge, then any and every practice can work for you. And then, more than the practice, you will catch the subtle aspect of it. So you will directly, instead of taking the whole gross lengthy work, you will directly keep working on the shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. I told one or two people here when they were they asked me which video should we refer to. I said, don't ask for shortcuts. If you have the interest to work on your mind, body and emotions, then you should be able to strive for it. You should be able to work for it. And to work for it, you got to be consistent and persistent, trying to understand the whole thing. We are spending so much time here, investing so much of time in this. and efforts in this, sharing this kind of systems and insights with everyone so that it can help. So when this effort is from this side that much, the effort from that side also should be to listen to it, to understand it, to experience it, to practice it. Most important, practice is very important. What we are speaking here should be practiced. This is not just for time pass or entertainment, because the mind is very powerful and it loves entertainment. So this should not turn into spiritual entertainment, because the mind has the tendency to be spiritually entertained also and to have its own fantasy. So we are not talking that. We are talking very straight practical things here, because we got to work on ourselves. So if you understand this funda of how this mind works, I hope this basic will help you understand about the mind. What we are talking is just about the mind here in this video. I was talking about the mind body. This is the first, that Pranamaya Kosha is the second, and third is the mind body. After that comes the Jnanamaya Kosha. One more subtle layer after that is the Anandamaya Kosha. So we have 5 layers. I'm not going too deep into those. Just to make you a little more deeper understanding about how the mind is influenced is the Jnanamaya Kosha. The Jnanamaya Kosha has got all your latent karmas. Like how your mind has got, its subconscious has got latent impressions lying down there. The outer layer, which is Jnanamaya Kosha, has got the impressions of all the karmas, a whole lot of karma. So again, not going very deeply into that. What is karma? Karma is nothing but groups of psychic impressions. You have one impression that you create all the time through one reaction, through one experience, whatever, through one impulse. You have something, when you react to, you create an impression, a subtle impression that goes into your subconscious. So like this, when you couple up similar kind of subtle impression, they become a very strong thought, or you can say a very strong tendency or a vasana. Vasana is again a group of strong, subtle thoughts of the same wavelength. So we have different set of such thoughts which group and they become different vasanas. And when all these are put together, you can say that is karma. So if you go on one more layer up, the karma is, again, when you break down, it comes into all this. So if you see deeper and deeper, break down, you'll come to psychic impression. And what is impression? If you go deeper, it is nothing but vibration. So karma also is nothing but vibration. So see how it flows down. So Jnanamaya Kosha has got all this karma, and from there it trickles down into the mind. Karma trickles down into the mind. So what I'm trying to explain is, your karma first influences your mind body. That is how karma enters your life. Karma doesn't directly happen in your life. It comes and catches the mind, and the mind is influenced, and then you start thinking, feeling, behaving, experiencing through your mind all the time the same things through your karmas, because the karma is making you think that. And what you think all day long, what you think very strongly and feel very strongly. So the mind is the most powerful tool to manifest into your life those incidents, those people, those situations, all those plus minus, whatever good, bad, ugly incidents that happens, experiences that happen, is the creation of your mind, manifestation of your mind. You have attracted it, again, unconsciously. So you might not remember, when did I do it? It happens unconsciously. Because most of the time we don't see our subconscious thoughts. We see only our conscious thoughts. So you say, I never thought this. But your subconscious is radiating a lot of things which you can't even see. Any sukshma it is. And what is radiating out all the time is what you are attracting from the universe. That becomes your prarabdha bhoga, your karma of this lifetime. So you can see how karma influences the mind. That is why it is said, man hi karta, mind creates, man hi bhokta, mind experiences. So the mind is everything, if you see. take out the mind, you're gone. You take out the mind, you're absent. Like for example, if somebody has got Alzheimer's, they forget. They have the tendency of forgetting. But if you look at them, they are completely having no mind. They come to a state, Alzheimer, final stages. They completely have no idea of who they are. They don't know their name, they don't know who they are, they don't know anything about them. They don't remember anything. Means what has happened? The mind is dissolved. And when there is no mind, what has happened is there is no reaction, there is no karma, there is nothing new happening. It is just the karma exhausting itself with whatever is happening spontaneously to it. There is no new generation of karma because mind is absent. And in such a state, if you really ask, that soul is in bliss. Soul is not experiencing anything. Because, please understand, even pain and suffering is experienced by the mind. And the one who is not connected to the mind will not experience pain or pleasure. So, that is how the Chidakasha explains that the mind has to be dissolved. And the whole purpose of Chidakasha Gita is to merge the mind into the intellect, into your buddhi. How do you merge your mind into your buddhi? By giving more importance to the buddhi and making the buddhi so vast, so powerful that it takes over the mind completely and it absorbs the mind completely. Buddhi is this discrimination. Under what I am telling you. All the time it's discriminating. Powerful discrimination. And if you ask me in very gross terms, what is this buddhi? Actually, it is awareness. In awareness, it's seeing, it's just witnessed. It doesn't judge. The intellect doesn't judge. It discriminates and it lets you know. There is a knowing of right or wrong, yes or no. It will only tell you, okay, this is false, this is right, this is false. It will not judge this is wrong and why did this. It will not go further. Mind does that. Buddhi just shows you. Immediately the mind looks at it and starts judging. So all the impurity, this is why the mind is called impure. It's the impurities. And the intellect also has to be sharpened, purified. Because if the intellect is not purified, it is dull. A dull intellect cannot discriminate properly. So it will give you wrong impressions, wrong understanding. The discrimination is not accurate. So you will not be able to see through what's real or not. That is why many people have problems in decision making. They can't decide over certain things. So the mind is fickle. It's always jumping here and there and the intellect is dull. So there is no king there to decide something. That is why Chidakasha Gita says the buddhi should be made the king and the mind should be made the prime minister. Means one step down. Mind should never be on top. So the whole idea is to develop your buddhi, your intellect again and again. And how to develop that is through awareness. Awareness of everything that we do. Being aware. There are a lot of practices again which I have put videos here. You can go and see into that where I have done some practices and I'll try to put some more practice only on awareness so that we can become aware of a lot of things and develop our awareness. And when we develop our awareness, we are developing the buddhi, the intellect. And when we develop the buddhi and intellect, the mind is becoming powerless. When the mind becomes powerless, what happens is the vrittis are lesser and lesser. When there is lesser and lesser vrittis, the mind will not get too much chanchal, restless. It will become nischal, still. When the mind becomes still, you can enter into meditation. You can enter into anything that you want to settle down with. Especially if you want to create things and if you want to have a focused and one-pointedness, you need a still mind, a neutral mind. For that, you have to understand this science. So instead of directly jumping into creation and all those things, because many people try to create and it's not happening because the mind is scattered all over. You cannot create with a scattered mind. Many people try to directly jump into meditation. Oh, Horani, it's not happening. How you can? Because you have not understood the mind is your biggest enemy, like Lord Krishna said. It can support you or it can take you off completely by not supporting you at all. So the best idea is how to tame the mind is by becoming your mind's friend. By befriending it, never fight with the mind. When you fight with the mind, saying that I'm going to do it, let's see, with willpower and so-called, you cannot. Because then you are making the mind your enemy. The moment your mind becomes your enemy, it will fight back. And that is why many people have problems when they try hard to settle down their mind or focus their attention and go deep into meditation. It doesn't happen. They strain themselves. So the idea is to slowly become its friend. So if the mind is very chanchal, first in awareness, accept that the mind is chanchal. Accept that I have an impure mind. Never have the arrogance of saying, no, I'm not impure, I am all good and my mind is good. When you say that, you have gone into ignorance. So you are not acknowledged that you have that darkness. So when you don't acknowledge you have that darkness, you will never put an attention to overcome that obstacle, because you don't see that as an obstacle. You see that I'm pure, I'm fine, everything is fine. So if everything is fine, what is there to work upon? There is nothing to work upon. But when you acclaim, when you acknowledge and say, oh, I have an impure mind, I have a restless mind, I need to do something about this. There are so many impure things that is happening, I need to purify myself. Means you are giving a command to your soul, not your soul, you are the soul. To your mind, your soul is giving command to the mind that, okay, now work on it. Now let's work on it. So all your systems get together and they help each other to work on it, because now you have acknowledged that, okay, there is work to do. When you say I'm pure, I'm fine, nothing is wrong with me, that means there is no work to do. But there is a lot of problems there. And that is how most of us suppress it, thinking that we will just overcome by avoiding it, dodging it. It won't happen. The path of awareness is becoming aware of all our darkness as well as brightness. So darkness, we become aware not to highlight it, but to become aware and say that there is work to be done. And then the other aspect of us takes charge, the buddhi takes charge, and the work begins. The work on awareness, developing awareness. So next time, with this thought, when you sit, when you're watching something, when you're interacting with people, when you're out in the world, when you're doing your work, when you're in your responsibilities, whatever you're doing, you'll be constantly aware. And when a wrong thought, a wrong concept, a wrong impression springs up, or something which is not beautiful, something which is not really going to help you comes up in your system, because you have acknowledged that there is work to do, immediately your awareness, your buddhi will spring up and say, here is somebody that is not for your highest good. And immediately the awareness will take action and say that this is unreal, avoid it. And the mind slowly will start listening to the orders. So these are simple things that I have explained, but very almost like details they are. If you understand the basics of this, you will be able to go little by little on that. And my advice is, do not rush with things. Do not be impatient and say that, give me one technique and give me that video. Can you share me the link of that video where I can meditate? It won't happen. So I say that if you're looking for shortcuts, this is not the place. This channel is not going to give you that. Because we have already seen that whole life we have been only running around for shortcuts and trying to find out so many shortcuts, so many ways, and it has never worked. However prominent that system might have shown you to be, but it doesn't work that way until you understand who you are, where have you come from, and where are you going. And while you have come from somewhere and you are somewhere, you have some things with you. That is all this subtle stuff with you. Your chitta, your mana, your ahankara. All these are different aspects, subtle aspects that you carry all the time with you. And our process is to clean all this. And you start with doing work on your mind, because the mind is where all these things are connected. So you purify the mind, everything, the chitta that I'm talking about, the ahankara that I'm talking about, the antakarana that we are talking, the whole set of these things will get purified. That is what the Chidakasha Gita says. When your mind is purified, it's called as Chitta. And the Chidakasha Gita again says, when your Chitta rises up through the practice of this internal breathing, there's a process again. When it rises up and the Chitta merges with this Akasha, this sky of consciousness called the heart space. Chitta plus Akasha is Chit Akasha, Chidakasha. That's the secret of Chidakasha. So there are practices where you need to do a lot of internal work, but for that, the best advice is to get in touch with a guru who can initiate you from where you can take this Shakti path and learn this process of invoking, of raising the Kundalini. It's a very deep subject, and I would not be talking anything here openly about the subject of Kundalini, because the Kundalini is a powerful Shakti and we cannot play with it. So it needs the guidance of a master. So I won't be talking anything in details about the Kundalini and the internal practice which are taught by Chidakasha Gita, because in the Chidakasha Gita there is also mentioned that a guru is needed for that. So letting apart that, before that, these are stages. What I'm saying is the preparatory stages. There are a lot of things, like I would say there are at least 70 to 80% of the things that you can learn from the Chidakasha and do it, because everything is dealt with your mind. And the practices are through awareness. Through awareness you can do a lot of work on you. And when you are doing all this work, when you are prepared, I'm telling you, when you are properly prepared, because now when you are doing these practices with your own efforts, it means that you have the eagerness, intense desire to purify. And when that is there, I'm telling you, you are sending signals out to the universe. And as you are practicing and as you are purifying, I'm telling you, guidance will come. Subtle guidance will come. The ascended masters will respond. The whole system, the subtle astral world, starts responding because of your earnest, because you're proving there. These practices are not to prove anything to anybody, but this is how it works. The interest is being shown, and that is when the master arrives, the guru appears. You don't have to literally chase anybody or go out and find or search or do research. It's not needed at all. I'm telling you, trust me. You just work on yourself here. Begin this journey by going very deep into this, and begin by purifying your mind. Begin by becoming aware of your life, of the contents of your life. And when you are becoming aware and purifying your mind, a lot of transformation, a lot of changes will come. And with that, you are helping yourself. God helps those who help themselves. That is why it is said. We are helping ourselves. And with this change of energies and transmutation of energies, you will attract the right kind of people into your life. You will automatically send away the people. You don't have to do anything. The unwanted people, unwanted non-supporting aspects of your life which is giving you troubles and challenges, slowly it will start fading away, because your energies are so powerful and divine that it will attract only like-minded. So repulsion will happen. Slowly all this happens. You cannot ask me how many days or how many months, because the moment you ask me in how many days and how many years is this going to happen, it's a shortcut. Subconsciously you are telling me, quickly give me something, I don't want to go through the process. No. So it shouldn't matter if it takes days, weeks, months or years, or even lifetime, because we have a whole life to do this. We are taken birth to do this. Chidakasha Gita says, the person who knows the life goal, the highest goal of life, that's mukti, is a human being. He says the one who does not know the purpose of life is a beast, an animal. Means he's comparing it is as good as an animal. We come, we relish, we live, we enjoy like animals. Food, sex, sleep, food, sex, sleep, procreation, that's all. And the pleasure and the pain that comes with all these processes. And die and go, again take another birth. This is not the purpose. So he reminds again in one verse very clearly that please be reminded of the higher purpose. Do not waste time. Spend time in walking towards this liberation. So this whole process that you initiate, you are not praying to God, give me somebody or let this happen, let that. No. It will happen with your intense desire and how much you are working on. So with awareness, you start doing all this, purifying. All the unwanted things will go apart and new things will come in, which is suiting your growth. People will come in, and that is how the Guru Mandala works. The Guru Mandala is not something that, somebody prakat hoye samne, they'll just come and, most of the people expect that. We pray intensely and somebody just appear. No, it's our karma, you got to work on it. So they will not interfere with that. They will see how interested are you, how much interested are you to clear off your karmas. If you are taking responsibility, because when you say I am going to purify myself, you are taking responsibilities by not blaming anybody else. You are taking full 100% responsibility for your karmic patterns, which you have invited into your life, the experiences. So with that awareness, you take responsibility and you're working. So that is what the mandala wants, that you take responsibility and you start working. So when you do that, the support starts coming. Because there your seriousness is there. And then timely, whenever the time is there, we don't decide the time, they decide. Depending on what is the highest good, because we cannot see our highest good. We can just work for the current moment. That's all. Long term, they know. So when the intervention, when not to intervene, they know it. So when there is no intervention, don't take that nobody is caring for me. Sometimes they stay apart for you to learn and understand and have deeper grip by going through that experience, journeying experience. It is allowed to be in your space. So that is how they work. So please understand that concept and take it as a blessing again. And when they have to intervene, you'll see the interventions happening. That also you will see. Divinely intervention. And how does the intervention happen? They don't come and stand in front of you. That is a possibility, but that depends again on your intensity and your purity and how great your vibes are. But otherwise also, it's not that they don't interact. They have various means, various tools, various mediums, various way to come to you and help you out. So it's not necessary to know who's how, and that's not needed. But when you are going in a surrendered mode and when you are only knowing that whatever is happening for my highest good, in that trust and that devotion that you have towards that path that you're following, when you know that, then any bitter experience or any nice experience, you will treat it both as a gift from that. And when you change your perception and look at things from this point of view, only good will happen. These I talk from my own life experiences, and all I'm talking from my own life experiences, because here we are allowed to only talk what we have experienced. So with this, I think I've given you enough insight on what the mind is and how to initiate and how to begin on the path. This is for most of the people whom I've begun getting communications from people who are following Bhagwan in some way, or have newly come to know about him and are interested and somehow drawn to him. I met a couple of people in Kanyangad, Ganeshpuri, who are new and we bump across, and many people are seeing these kind of videos or even reading the Chidakasha through my website and the insights that I'm providing, and they're coming through that. Somehow, whatever it is, we are entering this field and they are asking for guidance. So I was just deeply contemplating on this moment when I got an email and I responded, and I was somehow guided to make this video almost immediately and urgently. It's close to midnight right now. I never do videos at this hour, but I was very strongly feeling the need and urge to do it. So I believe it will help you and it should help you in the right spirit. So this is just like an introduction to the whole journey of Chidakasha Gita and the whole whole journey of understanding your mind, and whole journey about understanding your path, and how to take an initiative into this path, which you are going to walk on. And later, as it unfolds, everything starts happening. So there is no proper plan that we have here. You do this. I'm not telling you do this, then your next level is this, or next this is going to happen. We go just by the present tense. We just go by the present moment. That is how I've been always. And things keep unfolding. Whatever is for your highest good. Always keep this intention. Whatever happens to me should happen for my highest good and for the highest good of all. Always add this in your path, in your initiative steps that you take, your prayers that you take, invocations that you do. Whatever happens to me, whatever comes to me, let it come. Whatever is for my highest good, let that come. And what is for the highest good of all, let that come. It's combined. Highest good of me and highest good of all. So in this, what is happening? The Bhava Shuddhi happens. Your intention is very pure of this path. You are not being selfish. You are not just like, I win and the other lose. When you say for me and for others, you are saying win-win for everybody. So this is the right approach to have, especially when you are walking a pure path like this. The pure path of truth, light. So with this, and with a lot of praise for all our ascension and all our evolution in this path, thanking in eternal gratitude to the sources of this episode here, Gurudev Sharanam, Guru Mandala Sharanam.